Why, hello, and welcome to another stream, where I'm today actually working on, what I call it, this infinite drawing program that I'm working on. So working with my graphics tablet here, got my Wacom tablet and a pen to go with it, obviously. But it's just more of a having fun. I've done a little bit more today, about a few hours before doing this, obviously. Just to get some more features in here to make it a little bit more, what do I call it, polished. Trying to get some features in there because it really is needing to be done. So before I do any of this stuff, as you know, I need to go post all of this stuff into the social medias, right? You've probably heard of them. Yeah. Let me just... There we go. Trying to put more stuff where we're posting it all so people that know who know want to watch it. Right, there we go. So, I've just been posting that onto the interwebs. We could probably just show the stream now. No cheese today. That's an unfortunate thing. I've just noticed it says I need to change the name of the title. Today, let's say day 3, right. Make it very clear for people who are watching this maybe on the stream or even on YouTube. It'll say day 3, even though it's technically like, wait, isn't it technically meant to be day 4? Well, yes, I missed yesterday because I was absolutely zonked and I needed to sleep. However, it'll make more sense when people watching it on like the replay, obviously. So we're going on to here. We're going to go straight onto stream and we can start to show what's happening now. So I'm going to get my graphics tablet up and ready. And I'm going to show you some minor things that I've done differently. And you already notice, you're going to notice this little color picker at the top. Now this color picker here is not HSL, it's actually HSL UV. So this is a human-friendly color space, which I've chosen to use. Here we go. This is the color space that I'm using for the color picker. Now this one is more, it's closer to how your eyes kind of work, really. It's based on like the CI Love color space, but they've changed the colorfulness to saturation, and done a few other things here and there. But it is pretty good, to be honest with you. You can see how the lightness affects certain colors and the ranges they can possibly do. So we're implementing that, and again, we're doing it properly. This is rendered properly, even on the GPU. The interpolation is correct. So for people to think this thing on the right here looks a little bit weird, well, you're not going to be wrong. It's just going to be a bit different, and it is. But it's just more of a. I might try and up those colors because they do look a little bit flat. So if I go to the UI code, do the color picker, if we boost them to, I don't know, should we go to 6? Does that's a bit brighter, maybe 7, a little bit too bright, 8. No, I think mathematically speaking, I'm going to have to go to 6.7. And if you think that through, let's go to 6. Yeah, no, 6.7. That's the square root of 1 over 2.2-ish. That should look a little bit more vibrant. So we can set the colors here. Look, you can set the color picker and then do that. Sorry, that was just me doing stuff. Also, if you didn't know, on the last stream, I implemented undo stuff. I've been also trying to improve the interpolation modes on all of this, because it's been a bit jittery is the best way of putting it. And there we go. So it kind of works as I expect. Looking at the stream myself and the delay. For some reason there was a random delay there. I think it was just the OS jittering itself. But So we got all this working, but the thing I've been trying to work on tonight is actually the undo redo system. So at the moment, if I click on my keyboard, I've put it as numpad 0 just for the time being. Let's get rid of, let's just like draw over this. Click 1, it should reset it. Now there's a bug. The bug is, as soon as I draw it, it crashes. Yeah, it's one of those where the crashing isn't fun. So what do I do? So the problem with the serialization, I was going to look at serialization, it's really dumb. This is just writing it to binary, just dumping the data where I can. And I mean it really just dumping it. I'm going to see if I can copy and paste all that. And the reason why I'm that is if it's the same layout as the date file format, should be okay. Like that. There we go. Save. Close. Reload. Draw. It crashes. Now, the real question I've got to ask myself is why does the heck it crash when I draw? So my guess is it's trying to copy something across and it doesn't work. So if I run it with my debugger, which is in this case RemedyBG, I'm going to load up the test program, draw something, and now it crashes on a mem set. So the mem set it's crashing on is there, that destination. It's got some points to it, and it's got a capacity of what the yeah. That's not correct. It's very much like that. That capacity is not correct. Yeah, double not negative. So load it all up, do that. And then we get to this point here. Now, I'm going to look at the stroke first. Are the points correct? Yeah, so its points have got 26 in there. That's exactly what I'd expect. But for some reason, the resizing amount, this has got destination points allocator. This should be just have, it says it's not nil. This means this data is balked, I think. Maybe. Yeah, this doesn't make any sense. So I've got to figure this out, how this is working. Right? So I haven't showed this thing on screen. I'll show you how the serialization system works. It's very simple. First off, I create up a bytes buffer, allocate some buffer memory, and then eventually that gets destroyed at the end when we use it, obviously. But we have a, we write, literally I've just made a write pointer utility function here, just to make it a little bit easier for me when I'm doing the stuff. So this all it does is writes the magic, the header, so it's got the magic, the version, and then the CRC, so the checksum is the best way of calling it, right at the end. So then we're going to specify the file canvas, which has got onto here. So that's got like the general data we have of the canvas, like the zoom levels, rotation. I haven't supported rotation yet, but it'll be there. The stroke count, like what is the total strokes like we need to store. Then we're going to iterate them all, write them as we need them. Write all the data for the points here. Then also just check to see if whatever we can do with maximum store later for this thing. Then we get to this data, we do store that point there again when this is here. So we could probably just int that thing. There we go. So then we can probably just do this as an offset. So we don't have to just do that. We can actually get the correct. And to make it easier, I'm going to just draw. I'm going to write hey this time. Hey. Save. Undo all of that. Do a little squiggle. Press 1. We got hey. And I'm going to just try and draw one line and it crashes. So it is one of those where why it crashes, I'm not that actually sure, but it could be my fault. It might not be my fault, but we'll find out. Yeah, I do need to store the context, that's fine. I'll get the context off that point data structure because it's kind of like not meant to be there. But yeah, it's crashing. So the crash is, I know where it's happening and I understand kind of why it's happening on the strokes. So it's trying to set this destination, but it's like the stroke count for this batch is all kind of, it's all fucky is the best word, technical term there, obviously. Right, so we get to where it crashes. We look here, so I'm going to just clear all this. And then I'm going to look at the batch data. So that batch should be fine. Next, yeah, it should be nil. Previous is there, yeah. Strokes, there should be a lot of them. There's only 7. So the stroke count, we should get that destination. So this will be the 7th. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many strokes were there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So yeah, that should be the 7th, that's correct. But for some reason, all of that data isn't zeroed properly. Which is kind of worrying, to be honest with you. So the stroke data, that's fine. Now, I've been trying to reuse the memory because I don't want to minimize the memory, but it's kind of like, if this isn't gotten allocated, we're going to just allocate the arena. Then we're going to resize it for the points. But this resizes the bit where it fails. But it's failing on the copy. So, destination.points. Look, it's got this amazingly high number. Right? It's 2 to the 62-ish. Which is a big number. Not exactly what I was expecting, if you know what I mean. So, not useful either. So this is just random data. Like the capacity is wrong, the length is wrong. So something's going wrong with the resize, which makes me wonder. Yeah, it crashes whichever allocator I use it with. Oh, that'd be why I've got that flipping line. It's just that one single line. No, that should be fine. Doing the data. No, that's correct. What the going on then? I use the default allocator. So load, line, crash. Why is it crashing? This is always the question you've got to ask yourself is, Why do things crash? And I don't always know, if you didn't know. Yeah. But that's how things go, I guess. How the cookie crumbles. Yes, Rust does fix this. You are completely correct. That's clearly a me. Right. I mean, Rust would solve this problem, right? But I think it's me being a moron in one case, and I've just not been... Clearly, I've been working on this for too much. And I've been sleeping too much. Not sleeping enough is what I mean. So, I'm thinking... Let's just ignore all that. Let's load that all up. Nothing fails. And then when you write stuff, look... It never crashes. So clearly the crash is happening here on this resize. Yeah? I mean, the other option I can do with these points is not make them dynamic anymore. Right? But then you have this problem where... Like, ignore the smooth stroke stuff. I was trying to see if I could smooth it out with a different algorithm. But clearly not necessarily the best option in the world. There's going to be loads of places this is going to crash in. Like this. This is the current stroke I'm on. Which, if you look at a stroke, it's got these two pieces of data. Which is, it's fine. Let's call that stroke data. Current stroke points. Wait. Stroke point. I mean, there's no point having that as a point when you don't really need it. So, just keep it simple enough. Stroke points. In progress. So that's going to be stroke data flags. Going to draw the current stroke. So that is just going to be a dummy stroke, by the way, if you didn't guess. So that's going to be the data points. So that works. Now when I load it, it crashes straight away, which is actually a good sign. Uncle Bill, please don't call me Uncle Bill. You're not my niece or nephew. That's just weird. Do you have a Sublime system or do I use a build.bat file? I literally call a build.bat file. There's my build system. There you go. Copy it. So I have a build system. I've had a Sublime Text one for like, I don't know, for a long time. It just calls build.bat and it works. There you go. Cousin Bill, Brother Bill. Brother Bill's like the least cringe out of the bunch, but yeah. I look like your Uncle Bill. I mean, okay, sure. Yeah, simple Bill since for a simple man. Just have a Bill.bat. Yeah. And it crashes there, which is actually a good sign, which means to me, it's crashing... Something to do with that current stroke. that makes any sense. Let's put it through a debugger again. We load it up. We draw. And it doesn't crash. This does not crash. So if we go... We can't undo, so it's we'd have to do a clear. So we'd run this again. It's crashing somewhere on a heap free. Okay. So we're trying to delete the points. But it's trying to delete the... Oh, yeah, of course it would. Now, that's a different bug entirely, right? That's my fault this time. Because I've used make on it, and this case here, the delete is meant to be the virtual arena. So virtual... And in fact, we don't need to do that now that we've done the virtual arena on it. Right, we do that. Let's do a more... We can get rid of the UI, by the way. Just have to do tab. So I'm going to save that. Remove it all. Reload it. Perfect. Draw. And now none of that gets copied across. Well, when you say you hate the proc thing for Odin syntax, I'm like, you might dislike it, but I'm like, the alternatives are worse. It's one of those where it's aesthetically consistent with the rest of the language, and that's what it is. That's what you're going to have to do when you do syntax. Makes any sense? Yeah. So, is RemDBG better than Rad Debugger? I've not used the Rad Debugger yet properly. I've used it a few months ago, but it was still in very, very alpha stage, which wasn't usable. But yeah. What am I doing wrong, which is stupid? Because it's producing this is a consistently wrong number by the looks of it. Is it that like big number again? It looks about right. So what is special about that number? So if we do that into hexadecimal, that's the hexadecimal number. So if we put that as the hex number, effectively I just want to do the not of that hex number. Does Wolfram Alpha allow me to tell me this? Oops. No, it wouldn't do, but that's not the point. No, I'm making an alternative to an infinite drawing program. So if you see on Twitter, I have a post on here showing off, is it possibly infinite zoom? So this is the same app. You can see what I'm doing now, yeah? You scroll and it goes, this is the smallest possible zoom. So this is a really deep zoom, by the way, that is. And then we're going, oh, it's repeating randomly at this point. Yep, we're zooming out. Zooms all the way. Back to that one, Windows is retarded, obviously, phrase. Then we keep going there. There we go. See what I mean? This is the infinite zoom thing. Now, I made that before I even had, like, save system, but clearly the loading system's broken. Now, I know the general gist of what's wrong, but the general gist isn't helpful. Because to me, when I'm pushing something onto this batch system, this data, it should be brand new. I might just do like mem0. Is it mem0 item? Oh, I've not imported mem, have I? I've got mem virtual. Just doubly making sure it is always zeroed. It's failing to load it for some reason, which is a bit weird, right? Because I'll load it, try and do the it's not crashing now, which is a good news. I wasn't expecting it to crash. But it's not saving that, and it's not pushing it to the stroke list. So something has gone wrong. Right? This here I'm going to put them at the end for reasons. For some reason, I have a hunch this is what the problem is. There's no font. Of course there isn't. Let's add it. Just for this debug purpose. I know we could put a debugger on it, but I'm like, the point is I'm trying to figure out where is it not working? Because to me, oh, that's why I was doing a double. There's loads, so now it's loaded. It should, yeah, it's getting to the here, right? But it's not rendering it. Which is weird, to say the least. The other thing, I've also, when I do the draw the stroke, I do want to have the bounding rect on there. Just so I've got some debug purposes. So when I draw this should show, yeah, it's not rendering. So something's preventing it from rendering. It says 30, 26, 29. So that is on there, but for some reason it's not adding onto it. Load. 7, 8, 9. Yeah, none of those are rendering. That's what's kind of annoying me here, if that makes any sense. Put them there. Why is that not working is what I want to know. Come on. And now it crashes. So it's kind of a something about that. I get to here. So is there something wrong with the stroke data? No. Is there something wrong with the... is it crashing on this line or that one? Yeah, that pointer doesn't look correct. That's the thing, is that destination pointer for the strokes doesn't look correct. Because I bet that batch pointer isn't even correct. I don't think it's correct, so... it's a bit weird. Now, unfortunately, I know most people can't help me, because I'm doing it. Welcome to people debugging code and don't understand what's going wrong. No, so I'll, it's not actually. So if I just, whoops, I just saved the wrong fucking code then, doesn't matter. Well, let me just redo this. So let's relaunch the program. And I can now go, hey, hey, what a wonderful time of day. Still learn to work and play and get along with each other. You gotta listen to your heart. Listen, no, I'm not singing Arthur. Okay, that's aging me. I know Arthur's still around, technically it's a TV show, right? But it's aging me clearly, that show is. Right. I press 1. Yeah. Then we put a breakpoint here, and then we can figure out what's going wrong. Comes here. Yeah, so we look at the stroke first. The stroke has got data and points, and it should, yeah, 22 seems reasonable. All of that seems reasonable to me. The color's correct. The bounding rectangle's correct because it doesn't have one yet. So now we can skip down. Oops. Oh god, it's got an, no, it's raising a trap there. That's not a good sign, but. Keep running. Reload. Hit a breakpoint. Over. So before I even update that, so that batch stroke count should be 6. Now it goes to 7. Now that list total count. That should be 6, and now that should go to 7, and it does. Now this is where the bug is happening. It says s.data. Yeah, that's happening fine, that's fine. So now it allocates it. So if I do des.points, there's 25. Well, is that the right thing? Is the points.length? That's 25. Not 0. We're going to copy it. We're then going to calculate everything in there for the bounds checking. Like so. Come on. Can I just not skip over that? This is an access violation on the bounds. Destination. Bounding rect is not found. Well, it wouldn't be because it's under data, isn't it? But that's why it's saying... oh, for God's sake. Not working. There's a... This is where I don't understand it. DW did this. I know. DW. It was always very weird. I always found that very weird as a kid. They call her DW, right? But her actual name was like... oh, God. What was her real name? Dora Winifred. That was it. Such a weird name. Yeah. Well, I don't know. Kid shows. I don't watch them anymore. But clearly I do remember them. Right. What is going on here? I hope I haven't hit a compiler bug. Oh, I hope I haven't hit a compiler bug. I doubt I have. But I don't see anything wrong with my logic. The other thing I could probably do is, let's just say I don't free any of the data. Let's just do a, each time we come to these points, we make them. Just using the default allocator. Copy the points across. Reload. And then it crashes after a while, which is a bit interesting to me. Maybe the better option here is you've got the data, so stroke data, and then you've got the points. And then we can So when we push this, we don't need to do that. We can do the data, then the points. That's going to be... Loads, fine. But it doesn't... Then it crashes with that. So it's not running out of memory now, is it? That's the thing. But where's it? It's like, it's this batch doesn't seem to be correct. This is where, okay, it could be just because when I'm reloading the file, it might just be this code and I might just be looking at the wrong place. Like knowing where it crashes is not actually that helpful in this case. I think it's because it's loading the data in. And it's trying to load it. And it might, if I just do this. Okay, so it fails to load in the data. But it still works. So there's something going on when I'm trying to take the canvas and then pass that on. One thing I might do with the canvas is just to get rid of this shorthand I've got in here for some reason. Is everywhere there is like this context. I don't need the context. Well, I do, but I don't really. Okay, so that now works. I've just kind of got rid of the data. So this now means that this canvas structure should now have all of the information on it that I need. I'm going to just take my... it doesn't matter which the destination. It's been got using on it, so it should be fine anyway. So I'm just going to take this jumper off. Red hot. Yeah, I'm not muscular. But right, so we've got all that sorted. But then we're going to try and think this through. Yeah, I'm going to get rid of all that code. I'm just delete it. Doesn't matter. Right. Okay, so I've disabled the loading of the file. I'm going to move my graphics tablet across so I can type better. So I've disabled that. So if I said it was true, so we have to destroy... Well, we not have to destroy the old one. We could just return the new one, right? Canvas. This would be the... We don't even need to pass the old canvas in. We just can pass the new one. We don't need to free it. No, we don't need to free it. And then we've got C for the canvas is there. Yeah, I'm loading from a file. And it says mismatch 2 versus 1. But it is 2 versus... What? Okay. If it is okay, then we can try and... says true, and now it still fails, and I could do this big scratch thing. Not crashing anymore, which is good news. The undo read account I don't save anyway. It doesn't matter because I'm not actually storing that data. So it doesn't matter what I store. It's not getting stored. Again, this is just something which I need to get this minimum viable, saleable, sellable product out. And I've got today and then how many other days? 4 more days after that, I think. 3 more days. 3 more days after that. Yeah, 3 more days right after this. Yeah, fun day. I'll be able to do it. It's just annoying. Okay, so I'm just thinking through. This should be the successful thing to load, right? So because it's successful, it should be fine, right? Move the new canvas across. One option I could do, and this is actually like a very silly thing, come to think about it. When we look at the context itself, so the main, which has got the context on it, we have this canvas. It's huge. So if we make it a pointer, like so, right? We just make a new pointer to it. Because what we can do is we can just swap out the pointers. What I can do here is like literally on the resave, we can just like restart it again. So new canvas. And then return. So we never actually get past the thing. This works. We reload it. Now it works. Okay. I think I know what the problem was now. Yeah, it makes more sense. Just do pointer swaps. It'll be fine. So if I now just do canvas fini, I keep changing between fini and destroy in many cases. Okay, so that's another problem there I've got is with the draw. Draw. It's not draw in canvas. So that's going to be draw stroke. If the stroke points aren't there, then I can just do something dumb. And we just do really, really dumb interpolation on this, is what I'm trying to say. Like that, yeah? And then we get the color, which we can push up there. Let's draw a circle here. Actually, let's do that, because if it's really low, like you've got literally 1 point in there, it should be doable. Canvas position, pressure radius. What's wrong with it? S dot points. Ooh, not the right one. So that's going to be a P event. Let's just do this here, right? First off, we can just check to see if there's none. So if len of points equals like 0, then we don't need it, right? But if it's less than 4, we can't do can't do complicated interpolation. We effectively have to do that, right? Like that, yeah? So that's absolutely fine what I've done here. And then we can do a general interpolation of the radius. If I just do the radius here, yeah. Well, effectively, I need to do some interpolation, but right. So I've solved that problem earlier, but I think I know what the problem was. It was just literally just too big of a data. But this radius is then I'm doing an interpolation between the points, which is not. So we just do this. But then I need to effectively do an interpolation between the points because it's effectively I need to do this still. But I'll just do that for the time being, okay? Should be okay for what I'm trying to do because the data I'm storing is not the curves themselves. So if I just reload that up that says hey, that's okay. So for now we do the bounding box drawing and disable that. We can then just get the lovely hey back. Yeah. Which is fine because you see what happens as soon as I load it, I can always undo every single point and redo it. So like this will just go undo, but there's clearly no redo involved. Now redo doesn't work. Shit. Yeah, because that's the one thing I just realized. When you load this into memory, yeah. Total redos count. Gonna be the total stroke count, isn't it? So that's fine. There we go. I don't need all those options. I just don't remember which button's which. So this is the precision mode. So I can go really precise with my motions. And if I want to change the size of my cursor, so I can go... The problem is when you go this precise, right? What you get is you get all this horrible jitter happening. Right? And that jitter isn't necessarily what you want. And that's one thing I've been trying to look all the jittering. How do I improve this smoothing? Oops. And it's very hard to figure out. Are the precision problems fixed? Yeah, so what I did with the precision problems that we did on like day 2 of the stream is go from 32-bit floats to 64-bit floats. So we've doubled the precision. But that still doesn't help. That is still got limitations. It's not infinite. The only true way I'd have to go infinite is if I implemented like a quad tree or an oct tree kind of system where like those coordinates now become local to that quad tree. But then you still have that quad tree problem there. The quad tree is still going to be in some global space, but then everything else in that still be local. So you could do it. It's just going to be a little bit more difficult to do. Clearly you can see we've got batch rendering already. And if it's hidden behind something, it doesn't render. But one of the problems you'll see here is if I start just drawing around, at the moment I'm getting a lovely, well, 6 or 7 milliseconds per second. I'm getting the full 144 hertz that I've got on this monitor. But as soon as I keep drawing more and more and more, let's go for a different color. Let's go for this blue. Eventually things will slow down. Not that dark. I probably need to put a spacer between those two, but it's also like, it needs to be a dummy zone in there as well. Like it can't accidentally touch it. Green. You like my Jackson Pollock? Alright. Actually, I knew someone who used to do Jackson Pollock verifications, and the way they would do it is they would check for the fractal number of it. I don't remember which fractal number it was. It'll come to me. Because effectively the forgeries were not the right number. Like when you, for some reason, Jackson Pollock's paintings had a very specific fractal number to them, which wasn't necessarily replicatable easily. Right, we're up to 10 milliseconds per frames per second. And to prove it works with the batching, look, it goes quicker, like it gets slower. So I think it's rendering fast enough for the vast majority of work. Is Odin similar to C? Yes. Okay. I think it works because you make vertices a stroke local length. Like, yeah, I'm fixing a lot on the loads of them are like local, but some of them are all like that. There's loads of things have improved. So with the zooming amount that I've done here, we get to a zoom level of 30. But when I say 30, that is e to the 30 and e to the negative 30. So those are very logarithmic amounts. Kind of what I was aiming for. But yeah, like this isn't. It's gonna take me like loads of time just to get this to look bad. Starting to get to 12 milliseconds per second. All right, we're gonna try a different color this time. Ooh, let's go a bit lighter. There we go. This is good enough, especially for the thing, the jam I'm working on. I'm not trying to get it so good that, oh my god, like I would sell this for like £10 a month or something. And to prove, by the way, the eraser works. Look at that. Now, can anyone figure out how this eraser actually works? If you can, I'll give you brownie points. Does it have Wacom support? I don't know. Does this have Wacom support? Is a very good question. So I'm trying to do it like this joke was not working, but Wacom support. Try and write backwards and not look is not good. Yeah, it draws on the background color, whatever it is. Yeah, so whatever the background color is, it'll just that's the eraser color. It's that simple. Is the color picker CMYK? No, the color picker, if you didn't know, I'm just gonna, oops, I've just accidentally closed Cuthbert. Thank you. There we go. There we go. So the color picker is actually, I'll just load up a Cuthbert to explain. This color picker is actually something called HSL UV. So this is a human-friendly HSL. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of HSL usually. I usually want HSV. But the problem with HSV compared to HSL, it's just this one works with HSL. So now I don't remember what the difference is, how to go between the two. I think the lightness, which is luminance really, isn't it? It's just more of a, how do you go between the two is the question. Because value to me is a bit more useful than this. But then at the same time, I'm like, well, hey, sorry, if you don't know what the thing is, I'll type it in on the HSL here, the human-friendly one, where like it will work with different color palettes, look at different color spaces, and it do it as you a bit more natural to what humans can see. That's kind of what it's mapping to. Removing entire strokes could be useful. You're right. It's just it's out the scope of this project. This is just out of scope. Yeah. But this is kind of the. If I put it there, that's nicer. And if I now put that to like there. Undo, undo, undo. Reload. Right, so we've got all that. Now the file format isn't good, because the one thing we haven't done is stored palettes. Now we're going to have to put some palettes in here, and I'd want to put them like here-ish, if you know what I mean. The other thing that we're going to do is, I won't be drawing it in this program, I'll do it in like Affinity Designer or something, is I want to get some like icons for the tools and such. Like, so effectively, I want two different pens, like two different brushes. The one is here is constant width, and then the other one will be proportional to how, like, the pressure and stuff. So you'll have pressure sensitive and non-pressure sensitive. The crash bug, I just changed it to a pointer, it fixed. I think I know what the problem is. It's just a Stack Overflow problem. That was all it was. And it's just a huge data structure. But I digress. So I'm going to do the two different things. And the thing is, I'm going to have to figure out what I mean by this. So one of them is going to have like, if you have it pressure sensitive, it's like, it's not paintbrush sensitive, but it's not effective. It's the difference between having a pencil I'm just trying to think the name of it. Like, effectively, you're going to have something like, here's a pencil. That's a pencil, right? My amazing drawings of a pencil. And then you effectively want something like a round tip pen. So you know what I mean? These are the two different things. Odin is open source, yes, and free to use. That is correct. This software won't be that I'm developing. But hey ho. Right, so this is all hunky-dory. Right? So I think we're going to have these two type of icons, which should work, right? But like we could probably also just put like a line at the bottom here. Ooh, just disappear. Disappear. There we go. And then we could probably make this disappear as well. It's great when you've actually got a drawing program that like kind of works. Yeah. So this is just how it works. Eraser for mouse user. We haven't implemented all these features yet, by the way. So we're going to have another pen, you're right. Like effectively the eraser tool, which is like, that's an eraser, right? In fact, no, it's not going to sharp because people think it's going to be a sharp edge. But effectively you need the rounded edge on the eraser, right? So you've got the three tools and they're going to be like here-ish because you've got this thing. And then you're going to have to put like, here's the pencil. There's the pen. Again, I've got some amazing drawings for a pen. And then you've got the eraser. So you kind of got to do these drawings here and you can select which one you have. Milton doesn't need help so explain what Milton does, right? Look, I was showing Milton here, but now they have a brushes. So their brushes is literally, it's pressure sensitive by default. Yeah. They also have a soft brush. And if you look at that soft brush, it's got a very different like opacity on the edges. So that's fine. You can also put opacity for all of this. And the problem with opacity is you're just layering it on top. And like it's not necessarily, I would probably support it, not because it's good. Just because that's what it is. They also have the size relative to the canvas. So if I scroll in, what's the problem is I put size relative to canvas. That one now just makes it always like same space to whatever it was stuck at. That is now scaling to whatever it was with regards to that zoom. Now that is useful at times, but also like not at all useful in other ways. So you have to be kind of like careful what you're doing. So they can do lines. So I can draw lines like this. And I haven't added that as a feature yet either. We can always do the brush. So we have to have different tools for the different purposes. Yeah? Yeah, I'm not drawing the program to do the tools. They look so unprofessional. What I'd rather do is go into something like Getty Images and get them that way. Like Getty Images. Oh, wow. Let's look at something like this. So, pencil icon. Wow, the problem with stuff like this nowadays is they're going to show you all like AI crap as well. And like this is kind of the stuff I was thinking of, right? But it might be better just me. I'll figure it out one day. I've already got texture rendering, by the way, but that's a different thing entirely. Ooh. By the way, this is Milton, right? Milton's all right. It's nice to see that it actually does have a lines tool, but like... It's not necessarily that useful either. So I'm wondering, if I did a lines tool as well, how would that go? So we have to go back to the canvas. We're going to have different pen modes. So pen... Well, when we're on here, we've also got the stroke data, right? And then we have the brush data. But we have pen mode, yeah? So we have brush mode. Going to be an enum. And the modes we're going to deal with are... we're going to call this... if it's constant width, would you call that a pencil? Pencil. We're going to have pen mode. And then we're going to have line mode. Okay, so we can put this into here. Brush mode to brush mode. So when we are doing the brush mode, canvas, not canvas, yeah, canvas. When we do the update thing, we could also have eraser in here as well. So what I need to do here So now I've got, it's not defaulted to any brush modes, but if we cheat, right? Let's say we put pen as the default. It now should be pressure sensitive, right? Yeah. But if we had pencil as the default, not pressure sensitive, it's constant radius. If we had line as default, what I need to be careful of is double insert on that. If len of, oh no, if m, if brush mode equals line. In fact, the thing is, eraser isn't a brush mode, is it? Just to put it clearly, it's actually different type entirely. So let's get rid of that. If it's in line mode, then we just add the whatever the previous one was. Yeah, so we need to figure out if got current stroke points. If that is greater than 1, we never append it. We just keep, so if we're in line mode by default, yeah, there's no interpolation because we never actually wrote the interpolation code for that, did we? I say we, I keep saying it. We is as in me. So we need to do very, very basic interpolation. Effectively, Yeah, effectively, it shouldn't be difficult to do the points. We've got the lines. We know what the perpendicular point is, don't we? So let's just do this. I'll show you. Let's get a software open, right? Let's go into pencil mode and explain the logic. So the logic is you have, let's say you've got two things here of different radiuses. That is the thing you've got to do the interpolation with. And you've got to generate that. So it's not going to be perfect, but you've got to get some sort of quad where if you know where the points are, you know what this line is. So you know what this line is. And then you've got that angle there. And then you effectively got to go perpendicular up to there, perpendicular up there, and then generate the lines based on the thing. Yeah? Okay. So this interpolation doesn't necessarily work as you expect. So direction is going to be the current point minus the previous point. And then you've got to do so let's call that dx. dy is going to be whatever dx, y, and then dxx. So there's dx and there's dy, right? That's your perpendicular. Let's normalize that. And then effectively, you now need to create the points for your quad based on all of that. Right? So P0, let's call it vertex. So V0, that's going to be so that's going to be pos equals the previous point plus dy times the radius at that point. All right, so we have the previous radius. That's one of the points. And then we have the color is obviously just the color. V1, so we got from V0 to V1. So that's just going to be, I have to go from that to that. Then V2 is going to be the current point plus the radius. And V3 is going to be minus that radius, right? Then we can just add those vertices. That should be correct. Make sure we're in line mode as well. That's meant to be linalg, sorry. Or is it just GLM? Not implemented there, is it? So let's just add linalg as well. I think it's just called col, isn't it? Those reasons. Radius. Okay, so that's not working as I'd expect. Maybe seriously, sometimes it is just simple as just oops, swapping stuff around. Yeah, it's sometimes just getting the order wrong. So I've kind of got the positions wrong on the radius. You know what I mean? Normalize 0, and a normalize 0 is if you just figure out the length of the vector, and the length is 0, the whole vector is going to be 0. So effectively is if x, you take the vector, so let's say you do, normally when you get a vector you do this, right? But instead of doing this is if you do that, if the length, like that, doesn't equal 0, else the entire vector is 0. That's what normalize 0 does. So it just gets rid of those singularities. So this is all clearly wrong. Yeah, so the problem here is you're going to have to render it twice. Makes any sense? And the reason why you've got to render it twice is because you don't know which side you're doing it from. What's interesting to me is this normalization vector isn't correct. Right? Which is kind of annoying me. Because, yeah, that should be... Look, works if you go in one direction, but it doesn't work in the other direction. But it should. You are correct. I don't use that. Thank you. Now it works. Yeah? That's line mode implemented. So we've got the 3 different brushes now. We've got pencil, which is thick, just a brush. We've got pen, and then we had the line. Thank you for pointing it out. I couldn't believe it. Yeah. That should be pen mode as well. So we're in pen mode. There is some pressure. Like that, yeah? And then we have a third mode as well we'll have to do. So the third mode is effectively... It's on the flags, but the third mode is effectively... This is not the brush mode, this is the brush... Oh, I don't know, I'm figuring it out. Let me just write... Hello. Save it to a file, because we just changed the file format, but I'm still working on it, obviously. Again, most of these have to be implemented twice, because we don't know which angle we're coming from, right? But that might not be true. Just doubly check. Make sure line mode works. Oops. Can't type with a pen in my hand. So that is the right way, but I'm going to draw them... No, I shouldn't need to draw anything twice. Yeah, but that's line mode for you, right? Line mode works. So, we now need to figure out what to do. We're getting there. Right, let's just call this, let's just commit this. We're adding brush modes. That's just so I don't remember what I'm doing. Ooh. Anyone got any ideas? Because I probably just have buttons. I might just make a button, right? In the UI to switch between the modes. And I just have them as different colors for the time being. Because it will be fine. So we can do a button, and this is not going to be difficult because the button is very much like we have a widget. I'm going to go get the ID of that as well. Don't know why I'm doing @ on all that. I can just pass it directly. Let's call this brush mode pencil. And then we need a rectangle as well for our button. So this is going to be just below all our tools. So we're going to be at 20, but then we're going to be probably at like 250 maybe. And then that's the first size of the rectangle. And then we're going to need to be a bit more bigger. So we're going to be like, okay, if we go 100 pixels wide, that's 120. All right, another 100 pixels, just literally probably too much size. Let's go 60, 50, shall we? 70 by 320. And then if, what was my, what did I call the control state? Oh yeah, click. That's going to be the pencil mode. So mode, no, that's going to be canvas brush mode equals pencil. Now notice I haven't got any layouting system here whatsoever. So I'm going to create this dummy do button. Right, let's do a do button. So we set a position, and then we set an ID, a string. We have a widget result, and we also have the next position on that list. It's like the next layout, so we can handle that code correctly. So we have the position. Yeah, and then we can add like, get the size of it. We said it was like 70, just for the time being, right? And then we want some padding as well, I guess. So like 8 maybe. So when we do these buttons, so if pause, so we have res for the widget result, position like that. We can do res pause next position, context GUI brush mode pencil. We could pass pause in there, and then we could have that is pen, that is line. If click in that res, and in fact we can just do this. We can then set all of that, yeah? Now set all of that mode up. But notice we haven't actually got anything to render yet. So we got the ID here. We can now just render a draw rectangle. Context, position. We got the size. So let's say that size is 70 for the time being. I know the different coordinate systems, there's a reason for it. And then we got the color of that rectangle. We're going to call it, let's just do bright red for the time being, right? That's not actually correct color. And then brush mode, it says this can't be converted. It's like, well, yeah, because we got them the wrong way around. Let's put position there, right? That should be a string. Click in res. What do you mean? That is should be click, right? So they were the... Oh yeah, because I've kind of done it wrong. I was kind of wanting to do the below, is what I meant. Sorry, I got the logic right in my head, but... Yeah, so they are the different modes. The thing is, what I can do here is even simplify this even further. Mode I in brush mode. Do that. We can get push ID on all this. And it's going to have a... We say push ID, we've got a string in there. Let's do size of I should say. And then string that up. I can then just put some integers, so int of like mode. There we go. We've now genericized that as much as I need to. Mismatch count. Well, that's because this doesn't have the OK in it. Let's say it's selected. Just do that. Okay. So we can have color. If selected, we can change that color. So from like, I don't know, we can go really like vibrant with that color, I guess. Go magenta. Else if the ID is, let's say, sorry, if, sorry, just hover in the result. Let's just go like, not completely magenta. Like that. See, there you go. You got some amazing UI work there, right? The best. Let's go a bit smaller with them because they don't need to be that big. They're probably a little bit too small as well, but it doesn't matter for this little purpose. Just to prove that we have a pencil mode, we have a pen mode, which is sensitive to the pressure, and then we have a line mode. So there's a problem here with the line mode, is that as soon as the line mode is doing its radius thing incorrectly. I know why now. It's because when we set things up, do the update here. I do need to set the flags, so Yeah. There we go. Just didn't reset them every single time, that was all. So that's getting working well. We're getting good progress, I think. So we've got line mode working, we've got the different pen modes. I've got some dummy buttons here, obviously. And that works as I expect, so I can always undo that. So that's one thing we've got to do. So there's many other things. Notice the background color is fixed at the moment. We've got a color picker. We could probably have a flag where if you're saying, when you're setting, this is setting the pen color, and if you select it, say set the background color, it sets it same. Cloud? Time to add cloud features. Oh yeah, very much so. Yeah. Making Photoshop 2.0. I mean, what version is Photoshop on nowadays anyway? Because Photoshop is well past 2.0 at this point, man. Very past that. Yeah, version 2 came out in 1991. And added support for CMYK. Wow, it's that. Wow, man. And it also 2.5 supported Windows. Well, we're beating version 2.0 already of Photoshop. We're Windows first. Come on, we're beating them. Goodness gracious. That is pretty good, actually. So the next thing I need to do is, if I hold down Shift, it should, like if we look at Milton, holding down Shift hides the cursor, so we can resize the brush size. There's loads of, oh, this is just hacky code at the moment, best way of putting it. If it's just Shift, we need to set the, effectively the mouse delta. Like here. Yeah, that's not doing it fast enough in my opinion. Way too fast. Let's go to 10. Yeah, so the one problem here is we need to set the position. So we need to hide it. Because if you look at Milton, when we do this, the position of the cursor doesn't change. Also notice they do actually hide the cursor kind of thing anyway. Which is interesting to say the least. So we need to go to our IO. Not IO. Main, I guess. Or just do the platform code. So we call this platform. Wait, hides it there. Might have that backwards. I don't know if I like that as a shortcut though, so I don't think I want to do that, to be honest with you. Yeah, I think I just need to do, like, if I hold down shift and then scroll, right? Brush radius, we could just do this. It's not going very fast, so it's just like 5 times that. Sometimes just finding the right. That feels alright, holding down shift. If you've only got a mouse, holding down control works. Middle mouse button or mouse and click. They all seem to work fine, actually. Yeah, okay, that works out fine. Yeah, scroll. So dilly dilly. So. Oh. I'll probably only another have half an hour if that, because I'm shattered again. I just keep working too much. That's my problem. I'm not going to burn out. I'm just literally just going to be tired. So it's going to be one of those kind of days. Hey, it's coming along, right? It's working. And I think that's going to be fine. Okay. So the different modes for the pen. We need better icons first, is the next thing we need to do. We need icons for it. And then we also now we want to do is a palette system as well. So the other problem with the palette system is figuring out what you need to save. So like that, yeah. Because effectively, if I do that here, I'm just looking at the buttons. We can do a different palette system for it. So if we do canvas data here, we could keep this in here and go. We go color palette. Color palette. That's how you spell palette, right? No, that's not. That's how you spell palette, right? Yeah. Doubting myself there with spellings. So you can have the colors. And And then we have all the colors that we want to store. We can have color index. And then we have color length. Right? So this may... I keep saying right, bloody hell. I'm doing that on purpose at this point. Right, so we keep doing the... Let's do that. And let's set that one to be... 16? So when we get to this... The point is when we set a color, that adds one new to the palette. So when we do the color picker, on either of them being like active out, if left... Oh no, the problem is these are different widgets here, so we have to be very careful. This would be left res, right, res, right, res. So then we can do it on the end here is if, just add them together pretty much, left res and right res. If active out is in either of them, then we need to add it to the palette. Okay? So that'd be the canvas, color palette, colors, color index. We don't even have to put color index, we just do them directly. So index, we've got the previous, yeah? If the previous equals the current color, so if it doesn't equal the current color, that's a better way of putting it, then we can add one. So to add that, we just need to go that. RGBA. And then we've got to set the length up as well. Whichever is the smallest between that. In fact, we could probably just keep, yeah, that and that. It's already a pointer, so we'll be fine. Okay, that's great news. The position for this one, on the other hand, that one, I'm going to push it a little bit further down. So let's go for 300 there. Okay, so if we keep that as 240, that's fine. So that one going to be 300. For the color palette, though, we can actually do this kind of correctly. If I wasn't streaming, I'd be probably a little bit more productive. I'm not that unproductive streaming, to be honest with you. But most people are really bad at it, and I know they are, because I know the feeling, let's put it that way. And then I need to do effectively the same thing here. We're just going to go through all the color palettes. So we can go. We need to go from the eye, canvas, color palette, the length. Then we need to just do the index. That gives us the offset. And then we need to do a mod on that. The palette count. So that gives us the J index now. Then we can go into the color palette. It's J. And then we can do the color one. Pos. So that's going to be res pos equals. We haven't got an ID, but we've got the color as well. So that's the color. If the res, let's say click in res, then we can set that to be the canvas brush color. I mean, we probably don't need to. We should do the render length, right? But I don't think it's rendering correctly. So I'm thinking this through. How do I? Right, if I move this around, it says here. It gets here then, here then. So it's all doing the right things. Yeah. The only other problem is let's do the outline. Say it's 1 pixel wide and just do it like pure white. So now it's got an outline, but for some reason, let's put 8 there as a padding. So if we go to 64, yeah. Yeah. Whoops, I keep cutting. It's just that's me being like. Go back to the UI. This is kind of the weird oddity. So it's doing the brush color, it's doing the length, but then when we do the that one's empty. So is that one. So it's kind of more of a. I think I probably should do that way around. Okay. Yeah, this is where the thing is. I think we shouldn't be doing it on because it's when you keep changing the thing, that's not necessarily the color you want, is it? So effectively, you want to only do it when you're drawing, and that would be looking better in my opinion. Because like this is just like once I have selected that color, we can do that, can we not? Yeah. So if I now go to the color picker. No, as soon as you draw, like as soon as I take, like, say my pen off, add color to palette. So when we look for the update loop, it's when we do the release here. Context, canvas. Now it gets added. Not when this gets changed, but only when you draw. Now, apparently this is being added every single time. Now it does the color palette system. The thing is, those things there could be pushed there, right? So if we do 264 again, wait, not enough. 300 was actually all right then, I think. They're different. They're the different pen modes, right? But this is for the drawing, the color selection tool. Not again, not the prettiest thing in the world, but it works. So if I go hello, and now we go to like an orange, which I say that's fine, and then go world, I can then go back to the yellow color. I just said, yeah, apparently not. It doesn't go to the yellow color. Okay, I know what the problem is. I'm an absolute moron. Because I need to do GUI, I need to push the ID in, effectively. Because it's not going to be the right ID otherwise. Okay, so we go back to that. We can now do that color. Okay, so that's one of those where I have to be careful. Okay, so it can't just be if it's any of them in that list. I can't just do any of them. I have to check to see if any of them exist. So for, which is an absolute pain to be honest with you. If previous equals the brush color, then return, else we can add it in. Honestly, we don't even need context there, do we? We just need color palette colors J. I'll do. Yeah, that J is always going to be correct. Effectively, I want to go in reverse, so... like that. Okay, so I've got that color. And now I've got that color. And that color. That one. That one. That one. That one. Oh, they need to be a little bit further down. So when I push them, they need to be like 32 plus 8, I guess. No, that's not right. So that is plus 20. That needs to be plus 8. Right, you need some padding there. You know what I mean? So it's actually working as I'd expect now. Yeah? So that's kind of the color palette tool. And now we've got up to 12. And it's going up a little bit further to 14, 15, 16. And now it just literally writes over the older ones. So the only problem with that is we need to effectively render it in reverse order. Yeah? Let's just do that, shall we? Yeah, that's better. So when we do it, it gets pushed into the different order. That's perfect. I'm got pretty good here. Pretty good so far, right? Don't you think? We're getting there for this little jam of mine I'm doing. So we've got a save file saving. All I'm doing is it saves to test.cuthbert at the moment. So if I undo all this and then click 1, it reloads it. But I don't like that one. I've still got some rendering artifacts here when I've got cusps causing things. But it works. I'm getting there. Getting there. So what I might just do, of course, to render some more stuff, I'm going to screen record this, and I'm going to go. And there we go. I've got a nice little recording which I can actually broadcast onto Twitter now as some advertisement, obviously. Yeah, there we go. I've just posted that onto Twitter for people to see if you want to post it. I'm going to post it into the chat for the live people who are watching live, obviously, not the pre-recorded people on YouTube, which I love you just as much, by the way. But clearly, it's just more of a, there you go. You've seen this little demo, and we can save that there. So when we redo all this, we load it, we've got it back again. Look how good that is. Yeah, the recording software I'm using is called ShareX. It's okay, it's not great. Be careful with the defaults. Make sure you, when you go into, if you do use it, make sure you check all the settings because it'll upload by default in some cases. It's awful, but it's also a nice little software. It's just all over the place. But yeah, this is kind of getting there. And I'm actually really happy with how far this is coming along. There's no polish to this yet. This is just like this color picker, even though I can get rid of the UI, like there's no tomorrow. Yeah. It doesn't look the best. But I'm actually really happy with how this has come about, how it looks and how it functions. Yeah, pretty much. I don't think there's going to be much more needed to be in here. But for all I know, yeah. I probably won't be doing a stream tomorrow night at all because it's Friday. I may do one during Saturday, but not too late. I'll be doing it quite early. Like it'll be an early afternoon kind of job if I do. Trying to think if I've got any more time to stream. This is half the problem. And I may have to do Sunday as well for the stream. It should be fine, is what I'm saying. But I don't know yet. But I'm pretty happy. Like this is actually, for saying this is effectively what, 3 days of work? If not even full days. This is effectively, if you add all the hours up on the stream, it's effectively 2 days of actual work. This is pretty good in my opinion. I'm pretty happy with how this works and how it deals with stuff. And look, no, the only problem is this color palette is not getting saved. Annoyingly. Which is annoying actually, to say the least. So is the serialization not saving the color palette, or is that stored in a different place? Well, it's stored in the canvas data. Yeah. And I don't actually restore that. If I go, yeah, it does store it. Okay, so I do save the data. It's just that my software didn't load it correctly. Okay, so I have a palette from each project as well. That's good news. Very good news, in fact. The other thing I want to do here is on the platform layer, I've got this zoom parameter, which is a bit stupid. Let's just do that to a 0.1, I think. We've got a logarithmic zoom. We can go all the way up to 29.9. Which is effectively the maximum zoom I'm allowing. Yeah, because I've got this there. So that 10 to the 13 natural log of that is 29.9. And I'm doing everything in the natural log for the numbers. So if I do e to the 30, that is just over all of those numbers. So if I now zoom out, I get to 29.9 still. If I go to like 1.1, zoom all the way out, doesn't look as good, surprisingly. Interesting. Let's just do that. It's not a problem. That's the most I can zoom out. But if you want to understand that the amount of orders of magnitude that this comes up to is quite a lot, actually. It's not a bad thing. Also, there's random brush colors here. This is a... I never added rand into this list, did I? Rand. So now we've just got different random colors. The brush color. But that isn't on... It's not storing the right place where that's been changed. We should probably put that on the canvas. That is the brush color. Literally just random colors. And it's not even very good handwriting. You can see how it works. Also known as party mode. But you get to see how I write text as well. Like, it's clearly not all there. The other option is we don't do it this range. What we can do is the HSV calculation. The one I've got in that, I've got another package here, which I'm just doing import HSV, HSLUV. Yeah. How did I define that? It's 3 parameters. So, RGB. And if I remember those are correctly, those were between 0 and that's like 360. Those are between like 1 and say 99. 1 and 99. Because for some reason it's this, but whatever. Should be that's the wrong closing thing. So now it should be random, determined by... But what's interesting is doing that, it makes it a lot more grey. Less vibrance going from the colours. And that makes sense from... It's a lot... Very random, but I don't want it... So the saturation is too low. I'd rather have it a little bit higher. And then that a little bit higher as well. So the lightness is not going to be too... No, we could probably do like 30 and 70. And then we've now got a nice kind of colour range. It's probably a little bit too muted now, but... Hey ho, I'm just messing around with different random colours. How does that look? Good? Bad? I'm just clearly having fun. So if we just get rid of that, we don't need to deal with that anymore. Well, be productive is basically what you got to do on a side project. Yeah, it's always good fun. Yeah, always good fun. So if we go back into pen mode, There we go. Oh yeah, I can move with my actual pen. I don't even have... Look, no hands, Mom. No more, no hands. Whoa, look. It's not using even holding down space, but I can move. Because I did so. This is pen mode. So pen mode isn't necessarily the best looking mode in the world for things. Look, it's got some really crap rendering right there and there. But pencil mode is better, obviously. If we get it a bit smaller... God, this wheel isn't the best thing in the world. So we're gonna have to have a third mode, I think. This is line mode, and then we've got eraser mode, which is on the back, but it still actually works in terms of which mode you chose. Right? The eraser is independent of that. Now the pen eraser still works with a pen though. So it's not the best thing. So we've got a few things left to do. Clearly I've got to do, it's mostly polish now, I think. And the functionality is there. Again, the basic functionality. It's not going to be the best rendering in the world, but it's there. Right, has anyone got any questions before I go? Because it is that time of night where I need to go to sleep. And any questions? Really? Any questions whatsoever? Is that a lot of circles you're drawing? So the answer is no. We're only doing circles for the ends, and then the rest is a triangle strip. If that makes any sense. Just the circles on the ends, so they look like they're capped off correctly. Hopefully that answers. Do I have any questions for you? Well, the question is, when this comes out and it's ready, so it should be ready, maybe Monday or Tuesday next week, it will be available. The goal is to be done by Monday, obviously, but it might not be available to buy this thing, and I'll be selling it probably at like £1 or something stupid. I won't be selling this that much, if that's what you're saying. So the question is, what would you buy this for? $1? $2? I don't know. Yeah, I've got to change the background color too, of course. That's obvious. I've got to do that. I'm going to use the same color picker code as well for that. That should be really kind of simple. You'd put a $5 down. Wow, okay. I'm just trying to think, because this is not really fully fledged. Like, it's one of those where I don't want to... Again, it's a jam thing. I made it in a week. But it's also one of those where, like, what's the right price to charge this at for the jam? Because, of course, the whole point of the jam is you actually have to make something commercial. It is shipping an actual product, not just open sourcing crap. This is something that, yeah. There will be no source code. It'll be completely closed source. It'll be available by either Monday or Tuesday, because it should be by Monday, but it could be Tuesday. I've never actually set a project up on itch.io. It shouldn't be difficult, right? But yeah, it's more of a however itch works, I'll figure it out. It should probably take me an hour, if that. $5 is reasonable. I don't know what is reasonable, to be honest with you. It's always a good question. Tuesday's out of bounds. No, what I mean is it should be ready by, it'll be done by, the actual product will be done by Monday. But if I got crap trying to figure out how to get HIO working, yeah, it's Tuesday, but it'll probably be Monday. No reason why not. Any other questions, do you think? Yeah, so again, there's no source code. It's going to be closed source, but commercial. The reason why I don't want it to be open source is because I don't want it to be open source. So there we go. How are you storing / saving the marks? So everything's done in points. So we're literally storing the points coming from your mouse or your graphics tablet, and then we're storing those as a stroke. So the data structure is really simple. The file format is effectively, you've got the file header, the general canvas information, and it says how many strokes there are. And then it's literally all stored in line. It goes, here's the stroke data, and then there's the points for that stroke. They're literally the array. And then it goes, here's the next stroke, points in it, yada, yada, yada. And it's all kind of compacted down that way. It's really quite simple. So it shouldn't be that difficult. Like, there's not much that data to store in there. There is no rendering data stored in there. It's just informations about the points and the stroke and the brushes. And then when that's done, the rendering is done in the application. So the application will be the secret source, as you could call it, because the secret source is there for how do we get the rendering? At the moment, we've got really crap rendering, but I'm still trying to figure out which, like, I've gone from doing the cat mall splines and I've gone to B splines, because I think B splines look a little bit better. But the problem is the B splines still aren't great. I probably did need to go to cat mall, but I needed the centripetal to do the correct one, because the problem is you get these cusps that happen, and the cusps look awful. I'm not shipping the source. As I've said earlier, I am not shipping the source. I don't want to ship the source, if you know what I mean. Because if this is a good little prototype, or minimum viable product, I should say, then I would actually want to scale this further, and then that source code is going to be proprietary. Fine. I'm not a big fan of open source projects in general. But that's a different thing entirely. We're not getting to that discussion tonight, because that would be like, oh, that's a hot take. And it's like, no, it's not. You've seen all the source, guys. You've been watching the stream. That's all the open source that you need. God, I just realised how bushy this beard is. I need to trim it. Oh well, it'll be fine. Right. I'll give it one more minute. If you've got any more questions, please, tell me. And yes, I'm playing around with the cotton bud because it's just a fidget toy at this point. Will you sign the EXE? Good question. Maybe. Might have to, but yeah. I can't remember how to do a sign EXE, but I've done it before. I just can't. I'll figure it out. That's a good question. Signing the EXE. I guess that's all the questions for tonight. Well, thank you very much for all watching. We had quite a good number of viewers today. Yeah. And thank you very much for watching, and stay tuned for the next stream. There should be one more left, I think. I don't know which day. It's not tomorrow. If it's on Saturday, it's going to be during the afternoon, English time, obviously, not in the evening, because I'm out at a party. And then on Sunday, maybe this will be the, hey, we've got to package this all together to get it onto itch kind of thing. So there we go. Right. So thank you all for watching, and stay tuned for the next video. Bye.